Good morning, and let me acknowledge that standing with me from City Council, Mayor Pro Tem Martin, Vice Mayor Pro Tem Martha Castek Tatum, Councilmember Davis, Councilmember Kubash, Councilmember Cisneros, and Councilmember Robinson. So thank each and every one of you for being present. And then also this morning you will be hearing from the following individuals. After I speak will be Clara Campbell, who is with the Texas Retailers Association, Scott McClellan, president of HEB Food and Drug, Joe Kelly, president of the Kroger Company, the Houston Division, Christy Laura, who is with Randall's. And then, of course, there are many others who are standing with us today. Dr. Pers, Chief Pena, who am I missing? Chief Bunick, Office of Emergency Management, and there are HPD officers here as well. Let me just make a few comments, and then I'm going to turn it over to Clara Campbell with the Texas Retail Association. So much is happening and has happened over the last several days, really in the last 24 hours. One of the key messages that we want to make today, right off the top, is that the grocery stores in the city of Houston, in our area, the grocery stores are not shutting down. So let me just be very clear. Let me just say that from the very beginning. Grocery stores are not shutting down. The grocery stores will remain open to service the people in our region. So the grocery stores are not shutting down. Let me be very, very clear on that. The second point that I want to emphasize is that there is no issue. There is no issue. There is no problem with the food supply chain. So I want to emphasize that. We're not running out of items for our grocery stores. So there is no problem with our food supply chain. In fact, there's no problem even with sanitizers, things of that nature. It's just that people are purchasing quite a bit, and then they simply have to go and restock. So point number two, no problem with the food supply chain. There's plenty available, and so we're dealing with that. Now, they are restricting or limiting their hours in order to restock, to put the items back on the shelf, but no problem with the food supply chain. So as my dad would say when you had 9 kids in a family, he wanted us all to sit at the table at the same time, but only 5 could sit at the table at one time. He wanted us all in the house, and he would say, 5 of you go and sit at the table and eat, and then after you thought you had been at the table long enough for you to eat, he would come and tap you on the shoulder, say, you've been there long enough. The rest of you kind of get up. It's time for the others to come to the table. But he always emphasized, there's no reason to rush because Mom has prepared enough food. So you don't have to rush, okay? It's going to be okay. The same principle, I think, is apropos right now. No need to rush into the stores as if all of the food will be gone and there won't be any left to restock. No problem with the food supply chain, and they will be able to restock the shelves. The other point is that water in the city of Houston is safe. So I want to constantly reemphasize that. The water in the city is safe. You can use it, and you will be okay. And then I would say to you, point number 4 for me is buy what you need. Just buy what you need and be sensitive to the needs of others. And if I can underscore this, especially as it relates to first responders and to our healthcare workers, because they're working all times of hours to take care of everybody else. So be sensitive, buy what you need, but be sensitive to the needs of others. Now, I know there are a lot of people, as I've said the other day, that are going in and buying up all this stuff. They're just buying a whole lot. Those people are not Houstonians. They're not from our city. They're visitors. Because Houstonians, we just don't operate that way. So please tell these visitors, you don't have to buy all of that stuff. Buy what you need. In Houston, there is more to be placed on the shelves, okay? So buy what you need. And then the last point, I think number 5 for me, is that because there's so much business with our grocers, so much business, they are hiring. And so for a lot of our day workers, for example, who may be losing business, losing their jobs, maybe laid off temporarily, hey, the grocery stores, the chains, they are hiring. So that's the point that I want to make. Having said that, let me now yield and let me bring up Clara Campbell with the Texas Retailers Association. Clara, good morning.
Thank you, Mayor Turner. Good morning. I'm Clara Campbell with the Texas Retailers Association, representing Gary Huddleston, the Grocery Industry Advisor. The Texas Retailers Association is actively engaged on being a key resource for retailers in Texas to manage through the increasing impact of the coronavirus on the industry and the customer. TRA is the voice of retailing and aggressively works with the state and local authorities to coordinate actions to aid retailers and serve our customers. The TRA functions as a resource to government authorities. Additionally, TRA is engaged with the national retail and food associations to stay aware of developments nationally. The grocery retail industry is vital to the local economy and provides food for families every day. TRA is committed to supporting our food retailers as we move through this challenging time. Thank you.
Thanks, Claire. And Scott McClellan, President of HEB.
Good. Thank you, Mayor. Look, we've been through this before with the hurricanes, and it really brings out the best in Houston because we all come together. Although this one is different, because at a hurricane, lots of people leave town. Here, everyone is staying, and most people are staying at home to eat. And so what's happened, and the term we use is share of stomach goes up, meaning more of the supermarket meals go into stomach. And so as a result, our demand has surged. The good news is we're rolling a lot of trucks. Last night, we had 1,300 trucks roll to our stores throughout Texas. And tomorrow, we'll have 1,300 trucks or more because we're taking shipments directly to our stores in full truckload quantities. That's what's good about running high-volume stores. So there will be food. There's not a reason to stock up. Just come back tomorrow. The other thing that's very important is that we're looking at the importance of safety with regard to social distancing, which is a complicated term because when you say social distancing, it almost sounds like emotionally, let's stay apart from each other. But if you think about, let's keep a full shopping cart or a full arm length's distance. As you go into every store, we have food, we have a hand sanitizer that you can sanitize, cart sanitizer. We're going to be restricting the flow to make sure we don't get too many people into a store at one time so that we can keep the appropriate distance so that COVID-19 doesn't spread. And we've just put into all stores in Houston this sneeze guard shield that will separate the checker from customers so that we can make sure that we look out for the care and wellness of the customers and our partners who work in our store. We know that we want you to be able to shop in the store safely, and we also need to know that we can staff our stores safely. What I know about this week, it's going to be different than next week, and next week will be different than this week. So what's important is that we're flexible in what we do, and instead of acting like individuals, that we come together as a community and we do what's right. And that starts with sanitation, making sure if you don't feel good, don't come to the store, and looking out for each other. Thanks, man.
I was going to keep that.
You look good with it.
Thanks, Scott. Even in these moments, you got to be able to smile as we work our way through it. Okay. The next speaker would be Joe Kelly, President of Kroger Company, Houston Division. Joe.
Thanks, man. Good morning, everyone. I think first and foremost, we want to talk about what we're doing to keep our stores stocked and restocked, quite frankly. We're working with suppliers to replenish the items customers are looking for, and we're doing that quickly. Our distribution center here in Houston has teams working around the clock. We have products and supplies arriving daily into all 109 of our Houston stores. Our manufacturing partners around the country have added shifts to keep up with the demand on the most needed products. We are partnering with suppliers to prioritize the most urgent needs of water, paper products, babies' needs, as well as sanitary needs. Our Texas dairy, located right in Fort Worth, has delivered over 40 tractor trailers of milk to the Houston stores just over the weekend, and we're coming back each and every day. Our Texas water bottling plant in Irving, Texas, is working 24/7 to get water to our Houston stores as well. On top of that, multiple other suppliers are sending waters directly to our stores as fast as it becomes available, like Nestle Waters. Our meat distribution center continues to work 24/7. The supply chain is strong and adapting to the increase in the consumer's needs. Conditions and quantities will continue to improve on a daily basis at our shelf in each one of our stores. To ensure our customers are safe, we've enacted and reduced our store business hours to 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. This will allow for more cleaning as well as restocking. Continuing to provide our customers with a free disinfectant wipes as they enter our stores, as we wipe down our shopping carts as well as baskets. We are cleaning commonly used areas continuously and following best practices for safe food handling, as we always would. As America's grocers, we're working hard to serve our communities. We would love anyone in need of a job to join our team. Anyone. And if you have someone you know interested in joining our team, we can hire them this week. Just need to apply at jobs.kroger.com. Breaking news today, the Kroger Company in total, we announced that we're donating $3 million to Feeding America and to No Kid Hungry. This is part of our efforts to end hunger in our communities by year 2025 through our Zero Hunger, Zero Waste program. I also want to thank all of our associates in our stores and in our warehouse, as well as our supply partners for everything that they're doing each and every day. We will have groceries in our stores. We will not close down. And I would just ask that we err on the side of preparedness versus panic. Thank you. Thanks, Mayor.
Thanks, Joe. The supplies will be there and the jobs are available, so they are hiring. The next person will be Christy Laura with Randall's.
Thank you, Mayor Turner, for working so closely with grocery retailers as we serve our shared communities. I want to reassure customers that products are being shipped to our stores daily. Our distribution teams are working around the clock. Many of our suppliers and manufacturers have added shifts to help meet the demand. We have contingency plans in place to make sure our distribution center can continue to operate and our stores can remain open. I want to thank our customers who've honored product limits and been patient with our reduced hours of operation. Randall's is proud to serve alongside Houstonians where our resilience and sense of community is so strong.
Thank you very, very much. And now let me bring up George Bunick, Chief of the Operation Emergency Management, who's been working with all of these retailers.
Great. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you for your leadership and guidance on putting this influential group together to inform the public that there's plenty of food available in and around the city. I'd also like to mention that the Office of Emergency Management has been working very closely with the Houston Police Department, Chief Acevedo, Chief Finner, Chief Slinkard, and Police Officer Jack Hannegriff on this grocery supply chain. This is not something new, as Scott from HEB said. We've been working on this primarily as it relates to hurricanes, but it's adaptable. The Office of Emergency Management and HPD has been working closely with these grocers for the past 3 years, developing plans to make sure that people can get the proper food needed in all neighborhoods of the city. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you very much. And now, if you have any questions, any one of these persons can take questions if you may have them. Yes, sir.
Questions to HEB or Kroger. Can you talk a little bit more about the supply chain and how you can reassure people? Next week, in 2 weeks from now, or 3 weeks from now, there won't be a shortage of any products in your stores.
Joe, Scott. Joe.
Yes, well, I'll tell you, there's not a shortage of product today. And if you think about what we went through the last 12 days or so, the product supply chain is in our warehouse, and it continues to come to our warehouse with hundreds and hundreds of tractor trailers bringing it in daily. The real challenge is just getting it to the shelf at store level, and that's why we've added trucks, we've added shifts, and the supply chain is not the problem.
Sure. Scott. So let's just think about this, because we're really at the starting point of COVID-19 at this point. And what we have seen is an increase and an uptick in the number of cases every day. So we've run a lot of simulations to say what happens if we get to 25% absenteeism? What happens if we get to 50% absenteeism? How do you keep a store open? And what we do know this is we have to simplify, simplify, simplify. So what we may see down the road is there won't be the same level of assortment that you might be used to today, but we will find a way to get groceries out. And we're confident that we're going to be able to do that. So you may not see 40 different kinds of bread or 100 kinds of bread. You may see 3 or 4. That's what's absolutely critical, is how do you keep this going? If you think about product and how it flows from manufacturer or from Joe or my own manufacturing facilities that we have, you have a big pipe. And there's only so much that can fit through the pipe, and you look at how do you do it the most efficiently. So you're making trade-offs all the time around assortment and efficiency. And that's what we're looking at, making sure that we can do. Feel very confident that the plans are in place to make sure that food will be there. I'm confident that we have the ability to do that, and the plans are in place. We have over 250 buyers that are working to source food. We have drivers in place. We have warehouse pickers, and we're continuing to hire also. Ours is hebcareers.com, and as we know, as other industries slow down in hiring, we're in the need to hire also.
Scott, can we talk about grocery delivery real quickly? We've gotten a couple of sort of concerns about orders being canceled, and it's not just HEB, it's
Sure,
all
Joel.
the retailers, and about curbside. It seems like that stuff's taken a little bit of a hit.
Yeah, so I think if you look at curbside today, pickups or click and collect, and Joe can talk about his own or Randall's can talk about theirs, is today it's built to be about 10% of total sales. What we've seen in Europe, that it's doubled or tripled. They're farther ahead on the curve than where we are. And so as you look at having to have more iPads to pick off of, more carts to pick off of, is how do you double or triple your business? So we're looking at how do we expand that capacity. At some point in time, for instance, we've shut down our floral departments effective last week. We'll probably look at shutting down other departments that are nice to have and shifting those personnel into our e-commerce business so that we can add capacity into that area, as more people will want to utilize that. So again, we're going to look at how do we simplify our business so that more people can have access to those things that they need the most in the store and keep them safe while they do it. Okay?
A lot of your manufacturing and distribution facilities
Yeah.
are right here in Texas.
Let's let Randall's talk.
Okay, Christy.
I would just add to that, we spoke earlier about jobs, and we have immediate openings. We're expanding our drive up and go and delivery services, and we have immediate openings, and that's part of the reason we have immediate openings. So visit any Randall store, ask for the store director. You can go to randalls.com, and we are ready to hire.
I had a question for Scott,
Sure.
because a lot of your manufacturing and distribution facilities are right here in Texas,
Yeah.
headquarters in San Antonio. People may have concerns about the supply chain, where it's coming from, what type of precautions are you taking at those facilities before things actually get here?
Oh, yeah. In terms of that, we've gone through the same sort of simulation plans of how do we operate with a smaller workforce. And what we would do is we would pull back on the assortment. So in other words, instead of making 8 kinds of milk, we make whole milk and 2%. Instead of we'd make whole wheat, white bread, and buns out of our bakery. So that way it's the changeovers that take a lot of time, right? And so we would just look at how much can we make as quick as we can. And so while the variety that we're all used to, you may not get a seeded bun with your hamburger, but you'll get a bun, right? And those are some of the small trade-offs that we get in times like these. But frankly, that's kind of what we're up for in times like this. We did it in the hurricane. We can do it now. The difference is in a hurricane, you saw the storm, you knew when it would pass, and you knew when we were going to get out. On this, if we're successful, folks, and we're able to flatten the curve, it's going to take longer. Because if we don't flatten the curve, we're going to get a huge spike. And Mayor will be up here with the medical community in a few days talking about how our ICUs are overrun. And that's not what we want. And so if we act responsibly, we will extend this for a longer period of time, which doesn't sound like fun, but it is necessary.
Scott, have you seen anything like this before or dealt with anything like this?
I hit 30 years tomorrow with HEB, and I've never seen anything like this in my life.
Mayor, some other large cities are ordering the closure of bars and restaurants. At what point would you take that step in this city?
We evaluate the situation every single day. We're evaluating our next steps, and we have been meeting this morning. We'll continue to meet throughout the day, and we'll be meeting with the county. So I anticipate we'll probably have some additional announcements before the day is out. But we're meeting with the county. But everything is being evaluated.
What's your reaction to the CDC's recommendation of no groups bigger than 50 people?
We are assessing, same thing. We are assessing everything, and there'll be additional announcements.
To leave right now.
Right.
Yeah, what about
but for right now, we want to focus on the food supply chain, because people have just been going in at a rapid rate and buying up everything. We want to assure people that there is no problem with the food supply chain. Stores regardless of CDC's announcement, grocery stores are not shutting down. They are not closing. And I think one of the big indicators when we say there's no problem with the food supply chain is that they're hiring. And certainly they would not be hiring people if they thought that they were going to be running out of food. That kind of goes, that's the antithesis of the other. If you're going to run out of food, why hire people and bring them on for one day or 1 week? So I think that to me is a very positive statement, is that when all of these grocers are saying they are needing more people. And you only need more people if you have more supply. And if you got the supply and you want to get it out, you need the people to get it out. So that, to me, is a very, very positive and strong statement that people can take some degree of confidence in. Regardless of what's being said, CDC and other things, the grocery stores are not closing. They are staying open, and they will have the food for them.
You guys, Scott mentioned the new measures for making sure that a lot of people don't go at the same time at one store. Is it going to be an employee telling people 15 is going to go in this or 25? How's that going to work? And is everybody doing on the same page here to do that same thing?
I think we've all made a few remarks about that, but at the end of the day, it's going to be based on a store-by-store basis, right? It's going to depend on what the need is. We set the policy here in corporate, at our offices, and we've already educated our store managers the what-if scenarios. So it won't be made by one individual in a store. It will be made by us at corporate, and we certainly will be talking to our district managers, our field team, our store managers along the way.
But do you anticipate lines, even more lines? Because if people are not let go in at once, there's going to be people outside, and it's going to be another.
Well, I'm sure Scott and Randall's will say the same thing. You can't get lines much bigger than they already are. So I will tell you that we've been able to manage it, but at the same time, we also open up first thing in the morning. There's lines around our buildings, so we don't let everybody in at once at that point in time. I think social distancing is an opportunity as we continue to see lines, and we need to make sure that we're practicing that. But the lines are pretty long now, so we're managing it now. I would anticipate we'll continue to manage it.
We have actually established a position in our store called the COVID Action Manager that oversees sanitation and customer flow in the store. So we're actively sanitizing our stores twice a day throughout the entire store. If you compare that with New York City, they're sanitizing the subways once every 3 days. So we have a sanitization plan for each of our stores. Secondly, this person then oversees the customer flow to make sure and has a person that reports into him that will stand at the front. And as we start to identify if we're backing up and people are getting too close, we'll stop and then ask people to queue with a full 3 feet or more in between them before they get into the store. And that's going into place tomorrow morning. We just put that into place today. Okay.
Question about the shortage of toilet paper. Are you?
I can answer that. There has been a shortage, even for the mayor when I walked in.
Well, are you concerned about like sewage backups or pipe damage and people are like flushing paper?
Yes. And we've been messaging that out. I know Houston Public Works has been messaging that out. Eric, you over there? Do you want to address that? Eric is with Houston Public Works, and I think he can speak to that because people are disposing of everything, and that's not helping the system.
So real quickly, once again, my name is Eric Dargan, Houston Public Works. The issue is that we do not want to flush anything outside of toilet paper down our drains. The plants cannot process or treat that type of product, and we're asking that the public just be conscious of that and understand that only toilet paper in small amounts should be flushed down the drain. Other than that, Houston Water, once again, on that side is safe. Please go out and just don't have to buy any water. You can just use the water right there out of your sink, and that will help us out also 100%, please.
Thanks, Eric.
All right.
Okay, let me thank you all for being here. One thing that I would ask is that Houston has always been a pace setter and a leader. Let's show the rest of the country how we conduct business in the moments of a crisis like this. And then let's show the rest of the country, rest of the world, that even in a crisis, we are thoughtful and sensitive to the needs of others, that we do not panic, We recognize that grocery stores are not shutting down, that the food supply chain is sound, and there is no reason to just go and form the big lines and try to buy everything at one time. And then bear in mind, like Scott said, this is different from a hurricane, where you can look up on the radar, know when it's coming, know when it's going to hit, and know when it's going to leave. This is totally different. It's one of those crises. It's a different from a hurricane. This one you simply have to manage, and you have to pace yourself, because we're going to be in this situation for the next several weeks, if not several months. So you have to pace yourself, and you don't want to go and spend your entire check, just going to the grocery store, and then 2 weeks from now you may find yourself needing some of those dollars back. So let's just pace ourselves and we'll get through it. Thank you all very, very much. Appreciate you.